Now that we've learned every single thing we can learn about the client that we're bringing on, it's now time to implement all those learnings. And that brings us to section 6 of our client onboarding process, the building phase. And this doesn't mean it has to be in month 2, like I've said in all the other videos. All these sections will blend together. This just gives you a framework to work with. So we're going to just overview what's in here. And then I'm going to make a couple more in-depth videos for certain sections, and I'll kind of talk about those. So budget finalization, by the time you get here, hopefully you've signed the contract, that first payment deposit has been made, and you're already cooking. We need to make sure we get that deposit. We need to make sure we get that money up front and explain to the client why that's important. And that's so that we can form our team. We can invest in our team as we're learning. Like, you need a filmmaker. Okay, well, we've got a filmmaker that will be your filmmaker. You might even introduce them to them, but we want to now say to that filmmaker, hey, we've got a budget for you. And that makes the filmmaker excited because they have work. That brings us to the team formation. So during all the phases prior, we're thinking about the team members they're going to start implementing. We're going to implement into what this client needs. And this is talking about a big client, like they need a lot of things. A lot of companies just need videos, and that's probably just you. So let's go with just the filmmaker, and now you have some money to invest in yourself. It's healthy for your business. But we want to make sure we cover all the bases, and we're going to talk a little bit about team formation, and I will make a video specifically for that goes into all the different roles that you can have inside of this. So we've got systems implementation. The thing with the systems is that every company already has systems they're using. If they're really moving, they've got a project manager software like Asana, Monday.com, Trello. We don't want to mess with their systems, because some things are going to be better for certain companies. And yes, we use Asana, but we're not going to push that on anyone. We're going to implement ourselves into their systems, and we're basically duplicating it. So for example, a company could be running through Trello, and they're going to assign a project to you. You're going to take that project and you're going to put it into Asana, into our system. And that's so that the company doesn't have to deal with all of the feedback internally in all of our team's systems. They just see the project, and then they see a final video, and then they give their feedback in their project manager, which is Trello. Let's just use that as the example. And then as far as like what we have, we use Asana, and I've linked our project management, how we kind of lay out Asana and how we use that. And then we've got communication. So we've talked about establishing that communication channel on section 3. Now we've hopefully been with them and learned enough that we want to take it. Maybe it isn't a text thread anymore. We're actually moving into Slack, or we're moving into email. And it all just depends on what the company wants to do and how fast things move. And one thing I've learned too is we will learn these things as we go. So you'll start one way, and then it'll start to make sense to add something else to the process. So that brings us to email coordination. I have a lot of emails now, and what I will try to do, especially as we pitch this in-house model, is I try to personally get an email for the company. For example, we have a client called Bullfit. So they gave me a Tyson at bullfit.com. That's so that I can keep all communications and softwares separate from what I'm currently doing. I'm not getting bombarded with emails from so many different companies in my personal email or my business email. It keeps it clean, so that you can kind of just jump from company to company. So I will try to do that. And I try to recommend the reason why that's great is that it then gets me into Slack. It gets me into their project software. A lot of, like Asana just made an update that you have to have an email that is the company's email to be in there, not as a guest. So that's something I'll try to do as well. Data sharing platforms. We use Dropbox. I'll go into more detail on how we use Dropbox. But every company, some might use Dropbox, some use frame.io, some use Google Drive. It's all the same. It's all a folder/file managing software. And so what we do in Dropbox can be implemented into anything else. And so part of this too is we're going to let them know, hey, we keep a copy of everything, all the final assets on our Dropbox. That's where we live. And then they will take a copy. So then we'll deliver to them in their project software. So if we're delivering the project to them for their feedback in frame.io, then they have a copy as well. And so we're finding out what data platforms they want to use. And we try to keep them out of any of our processes just to make it easy for them. We don't want to make them do anything new. And then we've got campaign management tools, landing page development, and website enhancements. That's getting into stuff beyond content creation. So I'm not going to dive into this. This is down the road. Right now, we're focusing on creating content and establishing the campaigns. So that's the overview. I'm going to dive into a little bit more on some of these topics in the next one.